Welcome to the multi-tiered system of supports. Are we truly implementing a multi-tiered system presentation? Multi-tiered systems of supports, hereafter referred to as MTSS, is a coherent continuum of evidence-based, system-wide practices to support a rapid response to academic and behavioral needs, with frequent data-based monitoring for instructional decision-making to empower each student to achieve high standards. The MTSS overview encompasses multiple components. First, MTSS is a school improvement process carried out by predominantly through general education. It requires that all teachers take responsibility for all students. MTSS is a tool for early intervention so that students do not have to wait to receive the intensity of instruction needed for each to progress. MTSS is a tool for prevention so that students do not have to struggle prior to receiving intervention. Tiered continuum of interventions and progress monitoring to address student needs is paramount. The MTSS framework is broader than response to intervention, a problem-solving model, or positive behavior interventions and supports alone. It establishes a system intentionally focusing on leadership, professional development, and empowering culture within the context of assessment, curriculum, and instruction, which ultimately supports the selection and implementation of increasingly intense research-based interventions provided to students in response to their academic and/or behavioral needs. This includes high-quality instruction and intervention to meet the needs of both struggling and advanced learners. MTSS establishes a self-correcting feedback loop that includes ongoing monitoring of the effectiveness of instruction to ensure that each student achieves to high standards. Lastly, the MTSS framework includes an integrated continuum of both academics and behaviors. Academic and behavioral functioning are inseparable. Most significant gains occur with integrated academic and behavioral model. Within the literature regarding response to intervention, in particular, there's two definitions. In an article written by Mark Shin in April of 2011, he outlines the two models. In definition number one, response to intervention, or a multi-tiered system of support, is used as an entitlement process for specific learning disabilities. In definition number two, MTSS is used as a school improvement model designed to employ scientifically based instruction and behavioral interventions aligned with students' needs, preventively, and as early as possible. Some names that are commonly used for this second definition include, but are not limited to, multi-tiered services of supports, coordinated early intervening services, and prevention-focused service delivery model. We are focusing on the second definition within this presentation. However, in most cases, the entitlement process for specific learning disability will also be embraced in those schools or programs that embrace a school improvement model, or definition number two. There are multiple approaches to response to intervention, or multi-tiered systems of supports. On the screen, you will see three listed: the problem-solving model, the standard protocol model, and the hybridized or blended model. I would like to take a few moments to discuss each of the three. The problem-solving model involves working with a school-based team to consider individual student performance data to identify and define learning problems, to develop specific individualized interventions to solve those problems, and then to evaluate the effects of the intervention on the defined problem or problems. Problem-solving models are a logical organizer to manage and evaluate system data, prioritize targets, and implement and evaluate individual interventions. The second approach, the standard protocol model, is used as a procedure in which specific interventions are prescribed for a specific subset of the student population based on their benchmark scores. In this case, you are working or developing interventions for a group of students that all have similar backgrounds. You still utilize some of the same concepts within the problem-solving model, and the fact that you want to define and determine an intervention that's going to focus on the individual student needs, but it's more based off of the group instead of an individual student. And the third is the hybridized or a blended model. And these have evolved that use some of the components of each of the two that I previously mentioned. One example of a hybrid model is the STEEP, STEEP, which stands for Screening to Enhance Educational Performance, which has been developed by Witt and colleagues. You can get more information about this model at www.isteep.com. Some basic facts. Research has demonstrated strong effects for RTI models in each of the models previously discussed. Therefore, there is no right or wrong model for RTI or MTSS. Effects obtained under any model depend on the quality with which implementation occurs. So let's talk about some effective implementation requirements. It requires schools to 1. Correctly identify students who need intervention. 2. Deliver intervention that effectively resolves the learning problem for the majority of students exposed to the intervention. 3. Monitor the effects of the intervention and troubleshoot to ensure intervention integrity and positive effects on learning. 4. Make decisions about the need for more intensive or less intensive intervention, for example, progressing to higher tiers or lower tiers, discontinue the intervention is another example. Link resulting data to referral and eligibility decisions in special education. And then 6, link resulting data to system programming changes. For example, their resources need to be reallocated. Does there need to be additional professional development or program evaluation? We can think of there are 7 ingredients for a successful RTI process or MTSS process, and let's break those down. The first is high quality instruction. The second is scientifically based instruction and interventions. The third is universal screening. 4 is progress monitoring. 5 is data-based decision making. 6 is fidelity measures. And 7 is professional development and training. I certainly hope that you join me on my next 3 presentations in which I detail and more fine-tune each of the 7 ingredients to an effective MTSS framework.